Hi, and welcome to Crazy Chemical Concoctions. My name is Mr. Misik. We'll start off by looking in your packet. The second page has some definitions, so I'm going to take a look at some of those for you. So our first word is experiment, which is a scientific procedure to make a discovery or test your hypothesis. An hypothesis is an educated guess on what you think might happen. Our second word is record, so you have to write down your findings. Scientists like to record what they're doing so that they can share it with other scientists and they don't have to keep making the same mistakes over and over, and that way they're able to remember whatever it is that they were able to discover. Our next word is temperature, which is how hot or cold something is. You're probably familiar with this when you check the weather report or the forecast. And our last one is dissolve, which is to cause something to disappear. Some people like to make Kool-Aid or something like that. When you mix it into water, it dissolves. And that's going to go along with our activity. So let's get started with that. Okay, so for our activity today, we're going to start off on page 5. And just for the sake of time, I'm going to go kind of quickly with the packet. On this page, you're going to write what's one thing that you know about bubbles. So anything that you've had that you've experienced with bubbles, and we're going to see how that relates to our project here. Once you're finished with that, we're going to go to page 6. And we've got 3 different kinds of water here. So I've got my cold water, which has ice in it. And I have my room temperature water. And then I have my warm water, which I put in the microwave for about a minute. I'm going to use a thermometer here just so we can get an idea of how cold all this is. Takes a couple seconds here to get a reading on my thermometer. So I've had this ice in the water and it's melted, so it's made the water pretty cold. And it looks like it's about 45 degrees for the cold water. Then the room temperature water, wait for it to stop moving. That one looks like it's about 65 degrees. This is all in Fahrenheit. And then my warm water, that one made it really shoot up quick. Looks like it's a little bit over 130 degrees, so about 132 degrees. So you can write that down for your chart if you want to at the top, just so you know what they were. Okay, so now what we're going to do is put some Alka-Seltzer tablets. These are used if you have like a stomach ache. You put it in water and you let it dissolve, which is one of our vocabulary words. And then you drink that and it makes your stomach feel better. So this little tablet's going to drop in this cold water, and I'm going to use the stopwatch to see how long it takes for it to completely dissolve. So I'll get my stopwatch ready. And you can see it's fizzing. But you can still see the tablet on the bottom. We're going to wait until that completely dissolves, and then we'll stop the time to see how long it takes. Still bubbling pretty good. Once it breaks up, you can see how much faster it'll go, but it still hasn't broke up yet. Still going. can see how the tablet's actually bouncing around in there because of the bubbles that's moving it. Looks like it's almost done. It's really thin, but there's still a couple bubbles coming off of it. And there, I think it's done. So that took 2 minutes and 23 seconds. We'll ignore the decimal. So in your packet, under cold water, we're going to write 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Okay, for my next one, this is the warm water. So I've got my stopwatch ready, and go. So you can see it's going faster than it did in the cold water, and it's moving around a lot more in there. And I'll explain why when we're all finished. It's floating to the top, just about done. And finished. So 48 seconds for room temperature water. The last one we're going to do is the hot water. So I got my tablet ready to go and stopwatch. And you can see how much faster this one's going. It immediately starts to bubble up. It's so fast it's hard to even see it. And it's already done. So for the hot water, we had 21 seconds. So under hot water, I'm going to write 21 seconds. So looking at our results, we can see that the Alka-Seltzer dissolved much slower in the cold water, and then the medium speed was the warm water or room temperature water, and then the fastest was definitely the hot water. The reason this is because the warmer the water, the more the molecules are able to move around. So the molecules aren't bumping into each other as slowly as they are in the cold water. In the hot water, the molecules are moving around faster, and it allows those bubbles to be released and that Alka-Seltzer tab to dissolve more quickly. So to complete our worksheet, we can circle for in which water does the Alka-Seltzer dissolve fastest. That would be the hot water. And then for the next question, in which water did the Alka-Seltzer dissolve slowest? That would be the cold water. Okay, now we're going to go down to the next chart down here. I put 48 seconds for our whole tablet. We got that from the room temperature time because that's what we already used. And we're going to use the room temperature water one more time. This time we're going to change the variable, which is the thing that we're trying to measure. We're going to use the Alka-Seltzer tablet instead of the temperature of the water. So I've taken an Alka-Seltzer tablet and broke it up into 6 pieces. And then we're going to time that in the room temperature water to see how long that takes to dissolve. Get my timer ready. You can see this one's bubbling pretty fast because the tablet's already been broken up, so the water's able to get to all the different pieces more quickly than it did with the whole tablet. And the bigger pieces take a little bit longer, but some are bigger and smaller because I didn't make them all identical. But it's almost done. And stop. So that one took 41 seconds. And you might get different readings if you try this at home, but they should all be pretty close. So for the whole tablet, it was 48 seconds. For the tablet cut into 6 pieces, it would be 41 seconds. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is crush up a tablet. So I'm going to put the tablet in the packet. I think it's easiest just to crush it up in here. So just kind of use your fingers to mash it up inside the packet. That way it doesn't get all over and make a mess. We're going to kind of turn it into a powder. So now we're making the pieces even smaller than we did with the 6 pieces. We're going to turn this into ground up. Okay, that's pretty good. So now I'm going to get my timer ready for the ground up tablet. And go. So now the water has an even better opportunity to get to those pieces because they're so small. There's a couple pieces I didn't ground up completely and they're just about finished. Again, this is the room temperature water we're using. There's one big piece that's almost gone. And done. So 36 seconds for the ground up total. So then we could look at this chart and we could tell that if we want the Alka-Seltzer to dissolve faster, we could either use warmer water or break it up into smaller pieces. So the last part for today's activity, write down what you learned today about how Alka-Seltzer dissolves. Like we just talked about, you could write about that how the warmer the temperature, the faster it'll dissolve, or the smaller the pieces that you break the tablet up into, the faster it will dissolve. Anything that you were able to learn from our observation today. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the next video.